Okay. All right. Hello. So today's topic is going to be gender inclusive, using gender inclusive language in business English conversation. So I just want to start out with a statement that's saying that language is powerful, right? So words are like the foundation of our personal brand, relationships, team dynamics, and workplace culture. So words have the power to create a sense of belonging for yourself and others. And words can also reinforce barriers between people. So while we might think that we use the same words to describe the action, traits, and foibles of people, regardless of who they are, it turns out that we often use language in a gendered way. So this means a person's gender identity and gender expression can influence the words we use to describe them. So to harness the power of inclusive language, we have to first understand how we use language. Then we can be more thoughtful and intentional in using words that create a sense of belonging for all. So hello, so everyone. So my name is Andrew Sangyu Lee, or you can call me Andy. So I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a PhD student in film and media studies at University of Pittsburgh, but also working towards a PhD certificate in gender, sexuality, and women's studies, which is going to be a big part of my uh, PhD dissertation project. So for many years, I've been a writer, speaker, consultant in the field of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And today, I invite you to join me in this presentation to discover ways you can create inclusive interactions and relationships with the words you can choose and use, right? So this will be the contents of what I'll be talking about today. So I'll just like finish the introduction part, which is the first part, right? So I'll just get to the first uh part one of my talk right now. So I hope you all are ready. So part one is the importance of language in workplace culture, right? So let's get to the section one. I remember the day I discovered the power of language, and I was reading my email, and an alert popped up about a new study by three academics by Madeira, Help, and Martin. And their study revealed that many professors unintentionally write letters of recommendation differently for men and women. And the way they write them, although unconsciously done, ends up providing more advocacy for men and more doubt for women. So this finding changed my world, right? So you see, the professors whose letters were in the study had invested years in grooming their graduate students, and yet, with an unconscious choice of language, some of them undermine their advocacy for women, right? So since that day in like 2015, I've been curious about the role of language in shaping perceptions and in giving like unintentional advantages and disadvantages, or even creating them. So I've learned that these trends are not just about writing letters of recommendation, but in the word choices we make every day. So now I see language as a powerful tool for inclusion, right? I want you to have access to these insights so that you can wield language as a tool for creating inclusion and belonging around you. So language is powerful on many levels, right? So on a personal level, like language is a foundation of how others think about you and what some might call your personal brand. So as Carla Harris, the author and former White House advisor, reminds us, the most important meetings at work happen when you are not in the room. So hiring, promotions, or the assignment of key opportunities as examples. And the words uh, associated with you in those rooms can affect your opportunities. So words have power. right? Even when you're not there. On the interpersonal level, like words lay the foundation of relationship, right? So whether you speak to someone in a welcoming way or even like unintentionally use words that that diminish your words choices shape how others experience being with you, right? On an organizational level, words are the foundation of culture. So there's about the official culture and how it's described in the lived experience, right? If you ever want to know what the everyday lived experience is, just ask this question: what does it take to succeed here in this workplace? Um, and that's the key question to ask in order to get a feel for the company's culture. Then on a societal level, words shape perceptions of what is good and what is valuable, right? So I remember being young and my mother did not approve of watching too much TV. But when shows were labeled as educational, she was more likely to relent to more screen time for me, right? So our shared cultural understanding is shaped by uh, our word choices. So throughout this presentation, I'll focus on words used on an interpersonal level, and my aim is to support you in being inclusive of those around you, right? So that you can foster a sense of belonging for all. And while culture is ultimately what leaders set and decide and curate, what I've discovered is that we all have power that we think to enact the culture. This is because the culture is experienced in our relationship, right? In the way we interact with one another at work, or the way meetings are run, or even our one-on-one conversations. So even if the overall culture is not inclusive, you have the power to create a sense of belonging around you for the people with whom you come to contact, right? So if you're in a position of authority where you get where you get to set the culture, your word choices will not only enhance your own success, but also support you to create a strong, unified culture around you. And your word choices will play a key role uh, in your success, right? So for those of you who are offline on Zoom, before you move on, I would like you to write down like 3 words to describe you at work, right? And we're gonna refer to these later, later in the presentation. So if you could just like take out the paper, hey, that's yeah, just 3 words that describe you at work. Okay, I'll give you about 30 seconds or something. Okay, so while you're doing that, I'm just gonna move to like, oh, oh, okay. I'm missing a slide, but that's okay. And then I want you to write down the answer to another question, which is like, what does it take to really succeed in your job?